All right.
We're back.
For my family, for my future. I can't even keep up with the number of episodes.
I think it's 4 or 5.
Episode 4,
6,
I
maybe.
believe this is episode 4.
Okay.
No, it's definitely episode 4.
Is it 4?
It is.
Okay,
Yep.
great.
So we are not going to do corporate sponsorships on this episode.
Why?
Because it's not working.
Well, but
we're not getting any corporate sponsorships.
We're just getting started.
We're just getting started. I do think that we should celebrate the fact that if you're watching this on YouTube, Brittany's Stanley Cup matches her nails, which matches her shirt. Wow, wow, wow.
I did not realize that this was the case today.
And then you got here and realized...
And I realized it once
perfect.
we sat down.
Well,
this color is really
so
in.
If Stanley needs a new model for their cups, you got it.
Or nail model.
The thing we were really talking about today, which has nothing to do with our episode content.
No.
You and I were having a conversation the other night, and
Yep.
I thought we needed to give this to the podcast and give this to the people to get their responses, because I want to know. There was something that happened recently. This is, in social media world, 2-3 weeks ago is like a lifetime ago.
Yes.
But we're just not getting around to talking about it. The chick on the airline who got up and lost her mind and said, "That man is not real."
And
we were having a great debate as to what really happened there, because
I don't know how big of a debate it was.
Oh, I'm pretty
right.
adamant that I'm right and you're wrong.
No.
But I want to know what the people think actually happened, because that chick, if you've not seen it, she's on a flight. They basically stop the flight because she loses her mind. And starts,
they don't even take off.
Right, they don't even take off, and she's screaming and pointing at this guy in the back, saying, "That man's not real," and she's crying and doing all this. And then she comes out with an apology video.
Yeah.
Where she's like, "I'm so sorry, I was wrong. I should not have done that. The outburst was really, bad judgment on my part.
Inappropriate."
But there was no excuse given as to why
she did it.
And you just think she was drunk.
I either think she was drunk,
high,
somehow intoxicated, or I think it could be like a medical, I don't know. She's just
manic depressive or something.
Yeah, or
bipolar.
The medicine she took interacted wrong with something. I don't know.
So, but here's, and that's such a generous explanation for this woman, but I just don't understand why she didn't say that in the video. She gave no explanation.
Because it's embarrassing. I mean, I know the whole thing is embarrassing.
But it makes so much more sense, and everyone would be so much more forgiving if she just said, "I had a medical issue." She didn't.
No, she didn't.
Which makes me think, and this is where the conspiracy theories run wild. Okay.
Oh, gosh.
I believe that the government has paid her off. It just smells like a government payoff. And I think that what she saw, I think she was sitting in the seat, and she turned and looked at the dude next to her, and I think he had lizard eyes or something, like alien eyes. I think it's like an alien on board. And she was like, "That man's not real." And the government was like, "Hey, you got to calm down. We're going to slide you some money under the table. Just apologize and move on." She saw lizard eyes.
Yeah, I think you're on something, too.
I want to know what the people think. Do you buy that she just had an episode, or do you think she saw lizard eyes?
Maybe she'd been on, traveling all night long. You
No.
know travel days can make you crazy.
Not seeing lizard eyes crazy.
Well, it could. I've never personally seen
Put it in the
lizard eyes.
comments. Put it in
Yeah,
the comments.
yeah.
Let us know what you think happened, because
You've got some hairs
I wanna know.
just really...
well, it's part of having long hair. I shed a lot now.
Yeah. See?
I know.
See?
I know. Having long hair is the whole deal.
It's a whole deal.
All right, on to the episode. For
Here
my
we go.
family, for my future. We're actually going to talk about something that adds value to your life, I hope. Today's episode is about how to handle anger and frustration
In parenting.
which is a very real issue.
Oh, 100%. Happened today. Literally, we're recording this at 9:20.
Yep.
And
2 hours ago.
most of the morning. We have 45 minutes with our kids.
Uh-huh.
Getting them up, getting them ready for school,
Yep.
getting in the car. And this morning I had to apologize to our crew in the car because I was just short, snippy.
Yeah.
And it was all due to me coming downstairs, and one of our children, who will name unnamed, decided he wanted to put Nutella. That could be our corporate sponsorship.
Shout out Nutella.
Nutella. On his toast.
Chocolate toast.
Chocolate toast, what
What a
we
life.
call it. Yeah. Yeah. that's probably not the best thing to send your kids off to school with, but he got the chocolate everywhere, on his clothes, on the counter,
It was everywhere.
all the places. And I just said he, so now we've
Narrowed it down to
two. And I said, kid, like, you don't have to ask for help. Like, I'm right here.
You were frustrated.
I was quite frustrated because it was just everywhere. And I did not come. I just was like, are you joking? How is this a thing?
Yeah, and the vibe you were carrying was very, very strong. Like, it could be read by the whole room.
Oh, yeah.
Mama ain't happy.
Yeah. And I get feisty and zingy, like say really pointed, zingy things. And so in the car on the way, after taking a moment of realizing I got to send all of my children off with angry mom or frustrated mom. I don't think they thought it was angry. Just like, get in the car. It's time to go. Hey, we didn't start out great today. My bad. Forgive me.
It is a real thing, though. I mean, I think that like parenting kids, it feels like, I think it gets pictured as this just glorious, easy, sweet, tender-hearted memories. When the reality is, like, at every stage, the newborn stage, the toddler stage, the preteen years, the teenage years, there is reason to be frustrated and angry the entire time.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of parents get in these seasons where you feel angry, you feel frustrated, and you're like, what is wrong with me? I'm getting mad at a baby. I'm getting mad at a toddler. I'm getting mad at a kid whose frontal lobe is not even fully developed yet.
Right.
You know? And so I think that there's a lot in that for us to work through, because the pressures that we feel as parents, providing for our families, leading our families, you know, just being human, just adulting.
Helping them grow up to be like incredible people,
right,
and not just bumps on a log that we don't have relationships with.
I think that pressure cooker of parenting can produce a lot of anger and frustration that we end up taking out on our kids.
Because in reality, we see, I should speak for myself. I see further down the road, like future stuff in a lot of these interactions. And it's like, oh, I can't, like, if we respond like this when you're 16, 17, 18, 25, we got to fix this right now.
Right.
And it's like, hey.
Yeah, because an outburst of anger or a frustrated relationship when a child becomes a young adult can actually sever a relationship and really hurt it for the long haul.
Absolutely.
So you know, we were just talking through how can we equip families out there for, like, and you know, this episode, I feel like we just need to get to brass tacks. Like, if you're angry or frustrated as a parent, what do you do? And let's just give you some real quick handles that we talk through all the time.
All the time.
And this is very much so we've not figured it out.
No.
But we are using these things in process.
And they are working.
Oh, they work when we'll use them.
It's always, and we can talk about that too, of like, when you're parenting together, a lot of times what happens is the stuff we'll talk about, one or the other is reminding the other person.
Totally.
Like, hey.
And it's almost always you reminding me.
That's not true.
I would say 75% of the time.
True.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So, and you know, so I can walk through some of these and then let you explain them, because I do think that I'm the one that ends up, you know, often receiving them from you. And a lot of these have come from you, from your heart and your soul and your time with God. And not all of them, but a lot of them have come just from you. I've picked them up from you over the years.
Well, and I think too, given our history, like, I mean, I went to school. I graduated from college with a degree in early childhood education.
So you knew how to do this.
And no, I learned it. I could, I've been around this age group of our kids my entire adult life.
Yeah.
And so it'll be interesting, though, once our kids start to outgrow or outage my own training or expertise.
Then you're going to need a former youth counselor, It's almost
See,
like you
but
gonna
we're
need
set
a,
up though.
It's almost like you're gonna need a former youth pastor.
I can already sense it. Like there are.
It's almost like you married up. You know what I'm saying? It's almost.
You take it while you can. I think I can already see there are times when our kids are doing something that I'm like, I've never dealt with this.
Yeah.
What in the world? Or
And then I can take over.
And then
it's like I know.
right,
I've been there.
because you've been there.
Yeah.
And we grew up, like I say history, like we grew up very different too.
Yeah.
Like I was the rule follower.
Yeah.
You were the push the buttons.
Yeah, rebel.
So a lot of the stuff that I was just like, no, I'm not going to
Yeah.
even try to push the boundaries on that. You did, and
Which means we get frustrated and angry about different things.
absolutely, yeah.
And so the first thing I think that I've always heard you say from a very, very early point in our spiritual journey and in our parenting journey is when you're angry and frustrated with your kid, no matter what season it's in.
No matter what,
I've always heard you say this. Don't take it personally.
don't take it personally. You can't take it personally.
Tell me more about what it means to not take it personally when they're a toddler.
Yeah. So
Because you'd think you wouldn't take it personally. They're a toddler.
sure.
But you
But
do.
when you're in it,
Oh, man.
and it's the middle of the day
Tell 'em.
and you've been up all night long and you are hungry yourself and tired yourself, and then you're trying to parent these
And they've
little-
thrown their 20th crayon of the day.
right, or like you told them no and they didn't like that no, and so now you feel like, or you can get to a place where you feel like they are taking out all of their frustration on you.
Yeah.
Like, and if you don't take it personally,
Yeah.
if you let it roll off, it's like, okay, you start to be able to see your kids as full human beings that are trying to figure out life as
Yeah.
well. So they're trying to figure out what are boundaries. What does no even freaking mean?
Yeah.
How do I fit in this whole family?
Yeah.
If I say something, am I going to be heard?
I remember early on you would, like when we were out at a restaurant and we had, this was back when we had like 3 youngins, like Tatum was a baby and then we had like 3 or 2, and it was baby 2 and 5.
Yeah.
And we go out to a restaurant and one of our kids, we always had the 33%
We
rule.
should talk about that.
The 33% rule is a real deal. Where I can't believe we hadn't thought about that yet.
Yeah.
The 33% rule, what we learned, or I feel like we observed, is that at all times of our 3 kids, 33% of them would be hellions. So one
Something-
of 3,
One would be crying or frustrated, or like
something was wrong.
it was never 100%
No,
happy.
never. It was always 33% unhappy.
Yes.
at least. But I remember at restaurants we'd have the 33%.
And so if you have
rule.
2 kids, it's probably 50-50.
Right.
Or if you have 4 kids, it's 25%
Sure.
rule, whatever it needs to be.
We'd be at a restaurant and one of them would surely be unhappy. And I remember that you would just like go and take them, or you'd have me. Like if they're going crazy in a restaurant, you're going to teach them that that's not how we behave. And you would literally just walk outside with them and sit until they've calmed down and then come back in. And if they started going crazy again, you'd pick them up and take them right back out. And I just remember you never took those moments personally. You just saw it as they are trying to figure out life. And it's my responsibility to help them figure out life, to not be mad at them or frustrated. And then I'd be like, oh my gosh, we're never going to be able to eat a normal meal again as a family. And that was true. when your kids are young,
Yeah, that is, yeah.
you can't eat normal
It's a
normal
great
meals.
realization. And
And you can't take that personally.
right, and those times were spent, instead of being angry with them. I mean, I didn't get it right every time. We did not get it right every time. But instead of being angry and frustrated with them while they're already angry and frustrated is not going to help anything.
Yeah, totally.
So putting words to it to say, hey, I can see that you're upset right now.
Yep.
And I'm really sorry that you're upset.
Yep.
But I can't allow us to go back inside
Until-
until we calm down and talk about it.
And that's just like adult, not taking it personally.
Right.
And that's just a hard place to be when you're frazzled and tired.
1,000%. That's why it's really helpful to have one person be
Don't
able
take it
to,
personally.
hey,
Yeah.
it's okay.
Don't take it personally.
Don't-
It's okay.
It's all right.
Yeah, yeah.
He's not coming at you. She's
Yeah.
not coming at you. She's trying to just figure out
Yeah.
her little world.
Yeah. And it's so funny now because now that we have a preteen, it's totally different because he's able to verbalize so much, and we still have to go, even though he's 12, don't take it personally. When he pops back disrespectfully, we'll correct it.
Yep.
But don't get too angry because he's just trying to figure out how to be a young man. He's trying to figure out boundaries. He's trying to figure out affection that's no longer sweet, cuddly, kiss up on mom and dad.
Right.
That's like young man affection.
Yeah.
And we can't take it personally.
Right.
Like
he's
whenever
going to show love.
Whenever he didn't hold your hand
Yes.
the other day.
Yeah. Oh, we were walking home from a friend's house, and our little one was holding my hand, and our oldest was walking behind. And I just kind of reached back like a mom would, like, hey, hop on up here, kid. And he grabbed it for a split second, and then you could tell it was like he went, oh.
Yeah.
And he let my hand go, and he straight up looked at me in the eye. It was not at all meant to hurt my feelings. He was like, Mom, I think I might be too old to hold your hand. And I said, I don't think you're too old to hold my hand, but totally get it.
And I'm going to circle back up with the conversation with him to say, you're never too old to hold your mom's hand.
Right.
But that's a moment where you could have easily just took that so personally.
Right.
And been devastated.
Yeah.
But instead it's just like, no, he's just a preteen trying to figure out affection.
Yeah, he's just trying to figure it out.
So don't take it personally.
Right.
It's all part of the process.
Right.
You know?
And it's okay, like, the older your kids get, to tell them how whatever interaction made them feel or made you feel.
Totally.
Like, hey, I don't appreciate it when you speak to me that way. Here's what that does to me. It makes me angry, and I don't want to be angry with you. So let's have a different conversation.
Amazing.
It's just
great parenting.
You can have conversations with your kids at an appropriate, on their level. I mean, even with our middle, if he gets feisty and disrespectful, that was disrespectful. That's not okay.
Yep. Yeah, I think too. One of the things we've practiced a lot is that when you're in that moment, because you can feel it when you're getting hijacked by the moment.
Absolutely.
And your emotions are all over the place. The anger's up there. The patience is low. One of us have said to the other, back off.
Yeah.
Go take a deep breath.
Yep.
Come back when you're ready. Like, if you can't handle the moment, there's nothing wrong with tapping out and saying, I need to bounce out of here for a second and go.
Yep.
Like, a lot of times you'll be like, hey, you might need to go smoke a cigar on the back porch, huh?
Yeah.
You know?
Or
I'll say
we freaking have a hand signal.
Right.
Like, there are times where we'll be driving in the car.
Yep.
And whatever's going on behind is triggering to you, and you're like, hey, guys, and I'll go.
Yep.
And then I take over.
And that's my indication to just shut my mouth and take a deep breath and let you kind of do your thing. But I do think, like, even for like the single moms and single dads out there, that when you don't have that combo, that it is totally okay. Your kids are not going to suffer.
No, actually,
if
it will
you
help.
go take 5 minutes and put them on a screen for a second, and you go to the garage and just lift some weights or something. Just take a moment and for yourself, calm yourself down. Your kids will not suffer. They'll be blessed by you having self-awareness to go, I need to back off.
And then you don't have to dig yourself out of a hole.
Correct.
If you can say, hey, I can't talk about this right now, I need a second. If your kids are old enough to understand that.
Yep.
Or, I mean, I used to say to our kids when they were tiny, I need a timeout. I need to take a break.
Yeah.
I'll be right back. Go watch whatever you want to watch.
Yep.
And then make sure that doesn't go too long.
Yeah.
Still use that period of time. Like, you don't want to wait too long to come back around, to circle back around to whatever the parenting issue is.
Right. But you get back off sometimes.
Back off and communicate it.
Yep.
Like,
I need a few minutes.
I just need a second.
We've actually done that a lot with our kids, where like they'll be wanting something from us, time with us, and we, like, just 2 days ago, it was like 7:00 at night. Solomon and Tatum were like, Dad, can we go down the basement and play cops and robbers, which is like the most physically intense game that they love to. It's like, it is wild the way we play cops and robbers. So I know it's going to take a lot out of me.
Right.
And I didn't have it, and I was a little frustrated. I was like, guys, I just need like 30 minutes of just me time, so just give me some space. I love you to death, but I need to back off.
Yeah.
And they hated it. They were disappointed by it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's way better than me giving them the worst of me.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think it's like, if you can acknowledge their disappointment, I'm really sorry. I can tell this disappoints you.
Yeah.
But here's why.
Yep.
I've had a long day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm exhausted, and I want you to get the best of me.
Yep.
So rather than me do this right now with you and be frustrated and tired,
Let's wait 30 minutes.
let's wait 30 minutes. And then afterwards, when they see that it actually does pay off for them, that it was an encouraging, fun experience instead of like, we got the last bit of dad that he had.
However, I did happen to time that out to where 30 minutes from that point was bedtime. So
Didn't realize that.
we actually just did bedtime, and it was great. And so I had even more me time after that. It was fantastic.
Not the best, but
So I think that another thing we need to talk through too is like, so don't take it personally. Back off and take a deep breath.
Mm-hmm.
Very practical things you can just do.
Right.
I also think that there are times when those two, like when you put those things into practice, they don't always work.
Sure.
And what you and I have learned is like when the period of anger and frustration, it's longer than you anticipated, and it's not seeming to subside, that there is usually something deeper going on. That like anger is almost always an indication of a deeper heart issue, like prolonged anger that is not that isn't solved by taking a few.
Right.
It isn't solved by a mental check. There's usually something deeper going on. So I think that that's one of those things, like when you're feeling that source of anger and frustration with your kids, and it's prolonged,
mm-hmm.
whether it's in your small group, whether it's in counseling,
Yeah.
whether it's with your spouse, you usually need to check your health gauges of just like, are you emotionally healthy? Are you physically healthy? Is there something happening at work? Is there a deeper relational issue in your marriage you need to work through?
Right.
Because sometimes our kids get the receiving end,
The overflow
of pain that we're
Yeah.
experiencing in other parts of our lives.
Right.
You know, that's where I think therapy,
mm-hmm.
counseling is so huge,
mm-hmm.
because sometimes there are just deeper issues that are going on. Like for me, a lot of times over the past few years, leading through COVID, leading our church through, fundraising for the building,
mm-hmm.
just all the things we've led through. A lot of times my frustration with church life
Right.
has then resulted in my frustration with my kids.
Yeah.
One of the things that my counselor told me is, she said, Petey, I observed that when, and this is going to sound really sick, okay, this is going to sound just like, oh man, this pastor's messed up, and I am. But she said, I've observed that when people don't do what you want them to do, when someone's reaction or response is different than what you wanted, your emotion is anger. Mm-hmm. And she said, and that is the indication of a control issue.
Yeah.
You have control problems.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like, oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Now I see like all these things about ministry that I can't control,
mm-hmm.
all these things about the world that I can't control, all these things about my kids I can't control. That's what's producing my anger and frustration.
Right.
And I needed to dig down into my personal health gauges, my personal health measurements,
mm-hmm.
and just my soul, what's going on in my soul,
Right.
to solve the anger and frustration problem.
And I can speak on that from you dealing with the stuff like church side of things, ministry side of things, and how that could affect and does affect when our kids don't do something the way that you want it done. It could be something totally out of their control, mm-hmm. where you will
if they get hurt.
That's what I was going to say. I'm glad you said it first, though. I didn't want to be like, I'm getting ready to throw you under the bus.
I know that I need to, like, there's some peace that I don't have either with my work life, mm-hmm. or just I haven't spent enough time with the Lord and had enough time in solitude. Right. There's some things that aren't going on when my kids get hurt.
And it could be like big time hurt, or they
accidents.
Just cry because they ran into a wall.
And my first reaction is not, oh, I'm so sorry. My first reaction is like, what is happening?
That's every single time they get hurt. That's what you say.
What is happening?
What is happening?
Because I have seen so many times our kids get hurt, and it's like self-inflicted wounds. Mm-hmm. Like it's one of our kids being crazy, and I'm like, and again, it's something's out of my control.
Yeah.
So anger comes out. And I'm trying so hard to process through that and just get to a place where that's not my reaction. Mm-hmm. But I'm telling you, it is a deeper soul issue.
Yeah.
That's not like, well, just don't do that. No, there are like things that I have to work through in therapy and in counseling and in my time with the Lord of like, why is it that when something happens outside of my control that I get angry?
Mm-hmm.
And what are those control issues about? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, there's quick handles to fix some of this stuff.
Yeah.
And then some of it is deep-rooted soul issues that are going to take time and therapy and counseling.
Like if every day, every time you get to the limit where you're like, I can't take it personally, I need to back off and take a break. Yeah. If that happens every single day,
something else going on.
Over, I don't want to say little things, but like in the grand, like if you can look past your nose,
Mm-hmm.
if you can look down the way a little bit, and in the grand scheme of things, long term, this is like an issue that's like this big.
Yeah.
But it's still what we also use a word called like hijacking. It hijacks you to a place of anger and frustration and
there's something else going on.
Then okay, let's open up. Let's try and figure out what that is
Yep.
for your relationship with your kids and for their own security and confidence and all of that too.
A lot of times I think what people will find if they'll dig into that issue is that there's a job strain that's causing it. There's a financial strain.
A relational
strain. There's a relational strain. There's something deeper going on that is causing, and your kids are the ones receiving it.
Right.
And that's the thing we want to prevent. We want to prevent our kids being the unfortunate recipients of our pain.
Sure.
Like, there's no way they'll escape all of it.
Right.
Because that's just part of doing life together.
Yeah.
But as much as we can give them our best and shield them from our worst, it's going to help set them up for just a more secure, healthy life. But the truth is, we won't get it right.
No.
And so this is the other thing I think you and I have really practiced that has been so helpful, is that when you get it wrong, apologize and own it.
Yeah. And not just, I'm sorry, like pull your kid aside.
Yep.
Have them look you in the eye. Mm-hmm. Don't do it like haphazardly. Just, hey, I'm really sorry about that from like, when I said that thing. Like, hey,
sincerely,
I should not have done that. Here's how I wish I would have responded, and I didn't. Yep. You didn't deserve that. Mm-hmm. I'm so sorry.
Oh,
please, not just I'm so sorry.
Yeah, please forgive me.
Please forgive me.
Yes.
And we've had a few times where our kids have been like, I'm not ready to do that yet.
Yep.
And it's okay.
Yeah.
Will you let me know when you'd like to talk about this again, or can we circle back around?
Yep.
Like preserving that relationship from a young age is super important. And just like we need time,
they need time.
They're full human beings from the beginning.
Yep.
They need time too.
We spend so much time telling our kids what they did wrong and making them apologize. I think it is one of the most crucial aspects to developing a healthy relationship with your kids is them seeing you own it when you did wrong, apologize, and ask for forgiveness. I think it is an absolute crucial piece to all of it. And then, for us, I think it usually hits right as soon as we put the kids to bed.
Yeah.
And we close their doors and walk downstairs and we'll sit on the couch, and before we turn on a show, we know if we've messed it up.
Yeah.
And it'll sit on whoever's messed it up. It'll sit on their shoulders, and one of us will be like, I'll be back in just a minute. And we'll go barge into their doors after we put them to bed and kneel down at their bed and just say, buddy, I'm so sorry. I love you. I'm trying to grow in this.
Yep.
But I need to ask you to forgive me for not treating you with enough respect and encouragement tonight.
Yeah.
And it's been, it actually has worked wonders. Like, they love
what?
it.
Okay.
You can tell that it actually helps the relationship a ton.
Oh, 100%. It develops trust and confidence and all things good. I don't think we've ever had a time where we've apologized and it's ended poorly.
It always ends well.
Yeah.
And that's what I love the most about the whole conversation, is that if we can work through this, the anger and frustration and parenting, it is the grace of God at work in our lives, because it gives us the opportunity to teach our kids the gospel.
100%.
When you ask your kid for forgiveness, you are set up so easily to teach them about how God is working on you, about how Jesus forgives you, but you still need this person to forgive you. But there's so much
grace.
Grace. It teaches your kid to extend grace, to extend forgiveness. It teaches them that you are a flawed human just like they are, and that you need the grace of God in your life. Mm-hmm. And I do think at the end of it, too, the thing you had come back to is this whole issue of anger and frustration in parenting. The way to solve it is to remember the gospel, which is God's great patience
for us.
For us.
Yeah.
Like,
yep.
Jesus sees all of our issues, and his response to us is just unending, unwavering patience.
Yep. I mean, what's the I'm terrible at remembering actual
scripture
references, but I know,
speak,
slow to speak,
quick to listen,
quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry.
Yep.
Like, okay,
yeah,
that's really hard to do, especially if you're doing it by yourself. So,
but that's why it takes a great, I think, connection with Jesus, remembering the gospel. Mm-hmm. If you can wake up every day and just center yourself in, God loves me, God knows everything about me, and yet he gives me unending patience.
Yeah.
That when I screw it up, he's not gonna punish me harshly. He's not gonna he's gonna discipline me when I need it, but he's gonna, with his loving guiding hand, father me and raise me up. And he's never gonna have an outburst of anger. He's never gonna have an outburst of impatience. And so if that's what I'm receiving from him every morning, then now I can turn and give that to my kids.
Right.
That's like, if you just live in the gospel, then it actually, the love of Jesus, as churchy and Sunday school of an answer as it sounds, if you will focus on the love of Jesus and receive the love of Jesus, it's the thing that empowers you to then give it to your kids.
Absolutely.
Whew. Anything else you want to add?
I don't think so.
Shout out to all the parents out there struggling through it.
Yeah, we are too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely, I think any time that we look at each other and go, dude, we really killed that. Yeah. I mean, that doesn't happen very often. Yeah. But when it does, it's like, wait 5 minutes.
Yeah, wait 5 minutes. When you think this is easy, wait 5 minutes and it won't be.
Right.
But I do think over the long haul, if we can just extend the patience of God that we receive to our kids, not take it personally, take a deep breath, confess and own it whenever you get it wrong, and then do that deep soul searching. Somehow in that crock pot, I think there's a successful relationship that comes out of that.
All of this is humility.
All humility.
Like, all of it. Like if your spouse or someone close to you in your life is the one to be like, hey, whoa, can I take over? And your first response is, no, I got this. Yeah. Okay, that's a lot of pride. Just humble yourself. Yeah. Get to a place where you can be so trusting of the people in your corner, whether that's your spouse, your friends, your church, your small group. Like,
humble parenting.
Humble yourself and allow other people to help you do that.
That might be a whole episode. Humble parenting.
Woo, baby.
Humble parenting.
Did we just unlock a new episode?
New episode about to drop. All right. That's it. Hope you guys are crushing out there, doing the best you can to build your family and your future.
We love you guys.
We love you guys. Always want the best for you. We're praying for you, and we got you back.
Yep.
Peace.
See ya.